My name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman & Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan, and today we're continuing our video series designed to educate and inform the public, so please subscribe to our channel. My spouse asks for a divorce, what's the first thing I should do? That's a question that we get a lot. We get it by email. Sometimes people will call us, and they're shocked. They didn't expect it. They didn't know the relationship was headed in that direction. A lot of times people will say, I don't understand. We just had a great vacation. We just did this. We just did that. Everything was going swimmingly. And all of a sudden, my husband wants a divorce. Wife wants a divorce. They're shocked. What's the first thing they should do? Well, I think they did the right thing by calling a lawyer. I mean, that's probably the first thing that they should do. Once you get past that, though, the question is like this. If it's really a surprise to them, if it really came out of the blue as opposed to a couple that's been talking about it for years, if that's what's truly going on, then it might make sense to engage in some form of counseling. One party didn't realize maybe there is behavior that can be modified, which will put the relationship back on track. So the first thing someone might do is determine, is this a salvageable situation? If it's salvageable, my advice would be salvage it. Do what you can do so that your children don't have parents from a broken home situation. Do what you can do to avoid that. Try to salvage it. Counseling may help. Speak to a therapist, speak to a priest, speak to a rabbi, speak to somebody who's involved in marriage counseling, and maybe that's the first thing you should do. Now, if you've already talked about it, if that ship has sailed, what's the first thing you should do? Well, in the divorce, we're going to have to do several things. Of course, if there's children, we're going to have to deal with custody, parenting time, support. If there's no children, though, then what's the first thing we should do? Well, we're going to be dividing up assets. So we should make sure that we both have access to all the information that's necessary to make a fair division. If they're brokerage statements, copy them. Don't steal them. Copy them. Photograph them. We can always get them, but it gives your attorney a head start if you come prepared. So get documents, get copies of tax returns, find out what's in the bank, find out what's involved before somebody starts moving stuff around. It's very important that you do that so that when you come to your attorney and say, hey, this is the project, we need to fairly and equitably divide these assets. If you come with documents, the attorney can say, okay, I understand this, I understand that, this is what we can do. It becomes particularly important when you have an asset that's hard to evaluate. A home is pretty easy to evaluate. We can look at comparable sales. A bank account is easy to evaluate because we look at the balance. But what if it's a business? What if money's coming and going? What if it's a stock with fluctuating value or some sort of portfolio where the overall values are changing? Then your lawyer's going to have to give you some advice on exactly how do we look at this and what's a fair and appropriate way to evaluate it and what's a way that the court will likely use that as a method to determine its value so that it can be divided. So those are all important things you should do as a first stop, if you will, on the long road of the divorce. If you have any questions about that, reach out and we'll be glad to help you out.